Well, I started the video series of the comparison of the AR and the AK47 with the general overview of the two rifles. This time I thought I would put their pistol versions head to head. To start off with, I have no idea how long this video is going to end up being, but I do want to start off saying I'm definitely an AK guy normally, but I think that when we get to the pistols like this, the AR is going to take an advantage. And I'll try to be objective about it, but for me, this one's a novelty, this one's still a tool. So we'll take a look at them. To begin with, they're both pistols, which means that their receivers were never rifles. They were built, designated as pistols, and then built into a configuration without a stock and not capable of attaching a stock, which from the NFA, the National Firearms Act of 1934, makes them a pistol. And they still shoot the same caliber, 7.62 by 39 and 5.56 by 45. They use, well, they're in, for all practical purposes, they're very much just like the rifles. It's just that because they have no stocks, they're a little more difficult to shoot. Another facet of the definition of a pistol says you can't have a forward pistol grip. So they can't have forward pistol grips attached to them without being nationally registered. That being said, they're very much like their rifle versions, of course a lot shorter. They both suffer from a lot of muzzle flash, and that's because the firing pin is going to hit the back of the primer. It's going to ignite the gunpowder is going to burn and expand. The expanding gases are going to push the bullet down the barrel, and if that cartridge had enough powder in it to push that bullet down the entire 16-inch barrel, then in this tinier barrel, the 7-inch or whatever it is barrel, there's going to be a lot of unburnt gunpowder that's still going to burn. So you'll get a lot of muzzle flash because that unburned powder is moving right along with the bullet, and you'll get a big cloud of burning powder as it burns out. Because of that, the bullet isn't getting as much pressure, it's not getting as much force behind it, as much speed, so it shouldn't go as far a distance, and it probably won't have as much power when it gets to whatever distance it does get to, because typically the rifling in the barrel is what gives a bullet its consistent trajectory. By removing a lot of that barrel length, you've removed some of the rifling, you've removed some of the spinning, and the bullet's going to have a tendency to spin out of control sooner than it would with a rifle. So there's some inherent bad things with both of these pistols. As I described the operation there, they're both very similar in the respect that the chamber holds the round, and as the round goes off, some of the gas is going to be diverted up through a hole in the top of the barrel, and in the AK-47, it's going to come up through the gas block, and it's going to push the gas piston, which is attached to the bolt carrier, and you can see it here on this pistol. That gas comes up, pushes the piston, and operates the pistol. Where on the AR-15, the round is in the chamber, it goes off, the bullet goes forward, the expanding gases go up into the gas block, and then go down the gas tube, and then they hit the back of they're going to hit the top of the bolt carrier on the gas key, and they're going to be pushed back, and that's the way the pistol will operate here. Very much like the rifle, but because, again, it's happens so soon after the cartridge goes off, they can potentially have some problems. I've shot hundreds and hundreds of rounds through this pistol, and I have yet to encounter any serious problems or malfunctions. We've shot this upper on other lowers, including an M16 and other full auto lowers, and never had any problems. Knock on wood. The pistol AR has been very reliable for me. Again, I'm really a fan of it for a lot of reasons. If you watch our other video where we talk about the two together with the rifle and the pistol, a lot of these parts can be swapped over to the rifle to keep it running. So in a lot of ways, I think the AR-15 pistol, because it's modular, lends itself to repair, where the AK-47, you'll notice, has a lot of rivets. There's some trigger group parts that can come out, and they can be used on the rifle. The safety can probably be used on a rifle to keep it running. I've never heard of a safety breaking, however, and I guess it's probably possible for trigger groups to break, but again, very rarely. The bolt carrier is modified highly in this small pistol, so it's going to be no use at all to the rifle. The bolt itself, while it may or may not fit in a rifle, is not going to be properly head space, so it'd be hit or miss whether or not it's going to work in a rifle, and it's just really not something that, unless you've really paid some attention to having these built to the same head space, which I don't even know if that's possible, it's just really out of the realm of usefulness. What other parts? The pistol grip, I guess, could be used. Of course, the magazine and the bayonet. The front sight, you really could pull off the pins there and remove it if you really needed to. I suspect the gas block, though, has been modified. And we're talking parts that would need pins and hammers to be replaced. There's a couple of parts like that on the barrel of the AR, but for the most part, just either a bullet or a small pin punch would allow you to remove just about all the parts from the receiver or the sights or anything, or the bolt. So while the AK pistol is neat and it's fun to shoot, its sight radius is quite small, where on the AR pistol I've got a fairly decent sight radius. In fact, it's longer than the barrel itself. On the AK, it might be a little bit longer than the barrel, but it's somewhat shorter, half the size of an AR. I think that they're both handy because they use very similar manipulations, so clearing a malfunction on either of these would be similar to its larger counterpart. Beyond that, though, there's not many advantages, in my opinion, to the AK pistol. It's very difficult to shoot. It's highly inaccurate. I shouldn't say that. I haven't really taken it out to distance yet, and I surprised myself. A couple of us have shot this pistol in the pistol configuration out to 500 yards. There's still some debate on how effective that round would be after 500 yards traveling, again because of the problems with pressure and whatnot and speed, but it can definitely hit accurately out to that distance. 200 yards is definitely within reach of this little guy, and that's a lot for a little pistol like this. When we're talking inside of 50 yards, it's a pretty effective self-defense tool. So for a lot of reasons, I think the AR pistol is a handy one, something that might be worth getting a hold of if you don't already have one. Definitely worth looking into it. The AK pistol is not something I'd put on my top 10 list even. It might be on my top 25. By the time you get to 25 guns, you're probably a collector and you're buying it because you either like to shoot it or you like to look at it. Some of the differences, I guess one other difference I can mention is that the AK pistol doesn't exist. This is totally a unique thing for the United States. The builders here started playing around and having fun with the parts kits and created these. I imagine to some extent because they wanted to have something to compete with a Krink, which is a totally different type of small AK, but it's not, being a pistol, it doesn't need to be registered as an NFA firearm. So it's a unique sort of American creation. I guess it's possible that someone's using them somewhere else, but very rarely are you going to find the combination of parts availability and the creativity and tools needed to chop these things down. Somebody who's using these things in war is either going to have Krink-offs, which are the smaller versions of an AK, or they're not going to bother wasting time cutting these things down. They're just going to use the full-size AK. The pistol, on the other hand, is all made, well, for the most part, it's all just parts. This would be a small rifle as well as a small pistol, so these parts are the same as they would be, built the same way they would be for a rifle. Same with the receiver extension, which is, again, it's not a toy or anything, it's well built. The rest of the parts are basically the same as in any AR. So these parts, are definitely all factory made right off the shelf. And aside from a little tuning, you do need to tune these things up because because of the gas system and the way things move. The buffer back here that jumps into the receiver extension to let the operating system work, that needs a little tuning with the spring and whatever they do. But I just took mine to my some gunsmith friends of mine, and they're armorers, and they put it together so that it works fine. And it's, like I say, it's worked fine for me for hundreds and hundreds of rounds. The AK pistol, again, needs to be built by a competent builder because there is quite a bit of tuning that needs to be done up here. And if they've done more than a few of them, that should be simple for them. But if it's their first time building one, you might end up with a non-working or a single-shot AK. There is a small bayonet that you can put on some of the AR pistols. I forget who makes it. I think it might have been DSA. Somebody makes a small little M7 bayonet that's chopped down though. But aside from that, very few of the pistols lend themselves to using bayonets. This one I had made by a place that's no longer in business, and one of the specifications I gave them was to leave the bayonet lug on so that I could still attach a bayonet to it. So this one's sort of a unique one. They didn't normally make them this way, but again, these are sort of little works of art. So even though they shoot, they're there to be looked at too. One more thing to the AR pistol that the AK pistol just isn't going to be able to compete with, and that's the ability to convert calibers. I've shown this before because I'm proud of the little kit. Of course, I didn't invent the kit. They've been around for a long time. They're very easy to use. You just open your AR, pull out the bolt, replace the bolt with the 22 conversion bolt, close the upper and lower again, and then insert the 22 caliber magazine, and now you've got a very effective 22 caliber pistol, which again gives you the same manipulations as the AR-15. Since the 223 and the 22 caliber use the same barrel, it's a very easy conversion, and it's something this is a 30 round magazine. I'll pop it apart again. It's very simple to make the change. It's back to being a 223. And the 22 conversion kit, even with this 30 round magazine, I could definitely keep them in a sock or something if I wanted to keep a little more compact. But I carry it in this, I don't know what this is, some kind of pouch that I got a while back, and it's just got a couple of dividers in it, and allows me to keep the 22 bolt, the long 30 round mag, a couple of these smaller mags, and in a nice case. I could easily add plenty of ammo if I needed to into the same pouch, probably hundreds and hundreds of rounds. Heck, I could probably keep a 500 round brick in there, and it looks like the pouch would just open up to it. So for a very small package, I could easily bring along a whole nother pistol in this bag and get twice the use out of this one. While there are 22 conversion kits available for the AK, there's none available for the AK pistol that I'm aware of, because the conversion kits require a sleeve to go down the barrel that converts the 30 cal down to 22. So it just doesn't lend itself to a caliber conversion as easily as the 223 converts itself to 22. Some of the weights on these for the AK pistol unloaded with the bayonet, we're looking at 6 pounds, 4.5 ounces. And that's about 19 inches overall, or 25 if we count the bayonet. That's with a 30 round Bakelite magazine. Next we'll bring up the Rock River Arms 7-inch AR pistol with a 30 round mag pull, and that's 5 pounds 8 ounces on the dot. Its overall is 24 inches, so real comparable. Since it's a factor on both of them, I'm going to go ahead and measure this width, or this height. And on the AR, we're looking at about 10 inches. And on the AK, we're talking about 11 inches. So even though I'm an AK guy normally, and I do like my little AK pistol here, the AR pistol is definitely a more functional tool, and I'm going to say that it has the overall advantage when it comes to comparing both the AK47 pistol and the AR15 pistol.